everyone, now today we're in North Wales. Yes, I've actually left Nottinghamshire again. They've let me out. And we're at the site of a place which I believe was pronounced Glynroney Slate Quarry, which closed in 1930. Now back in 1939, with the advent of World War II coming along, in the month of August the Ministry of Defence wants to acquire the land for a bomb store. And that is hiding nestled over there beyond those bushes. And you can see the valley behind, how well it would have been hidden. Now then, it was a design which required to hold around 18,000 bombs, and it was also a design based on a location in Derbyshire called Harper Hill. A few of you might have been there before. Now the entire site did have a roof on top of it, and back in 1942 it was buried in topsoil basically to disguise it all. And back in 1942 there was sadly a collapse. The topsoil was far too heavy, so once we get in there and down there, you'll see half of the site does not have a roof any longer. But we'll get to see and imagine what this actually looked like once we've got inside the belly of the beast. So let's get ourselves down there, we'll have a good look inside. Come along. So look at that, that is absolutely phenomenal, isn't it? It's such a long way down. It is absolutely huge. Now it was at one point covered, there used to be a roof, but unfortunately back in January 1942, 2/3 of the structure did in fact collapse, and it buried around about 14% of the ammunition here. There was a train in here that got buried. There was around about 27 wagons that was in the process of being unloaded, and unfortunately they got buried too. So I think it's time to get ourselves down there, isn't it? So here's a sneak preview of what I was on about. Look, so you can see the open section there. It looks like a massive abandoned swimming pool. But there's the area just there which is covered with the trees and the topsoil, and that is exactly what that area would have looked like back in the day. Right, this is looking quite precarious, so I'm going to take it really slowly, and hopefully we'll be just fine. So as you can see, there's a tunnel there, and there's another tunnel there, and they were both rail related tunnels. Now the first one was narrow gauge, look, internal, so you've got one rail there, one there. If we scoot over here, another one there, another one there. Let's grab the light and I'll take you inside. Turn that on. Right. And these narrow gauge lines would have come in, and you can see these indentations where sleepers once were. Look. Now at first I thought this was standard gauge, but then once you get to here, you can see it is not. Now we've got these metal pieces bent around the corners, looks to save damage of the concrete walls upon impact. Now what I'm thinking is that once the lines converged, there was still potentially two lines on either side, which was used for pushing tubs through, little wagons. And we go around this corner, look, you can see where the reinforcement bars and the rods have rusted away and it's collapsed a little bit. And it does in fact turn into an arch structure, look, as we get around here. The indentations are still apparent, and there's no damage, there's just a hell of a lot of moisture. Look, there's a little bracket there which probably carried cables for lighting at some point. And it's not going to go much further, it is in fact blocked off at the other end with pieces of rock and slate. Might be able to shine a light down, as there is a little gap just at the top. Climb up. There you go, look, absolutely filled in all the way through. So that's the exit. Look, we've come out of that tunnel. We're back opposite the remains of the internal bomb store. So I'm going to take you around to the other one now, and that one was indeed a standard gauge line, and this is the one that brought in the wagons which we saw on the inside where the rails were still down in the unloading dock area. And there it is, look. Completely different height because we know it's a larger train that would have come through here. Still got the anti-slip along there, look, too. No trace of rails at this point. They've been taken away, so they must finish just beyond those bushes. So there's nothing too exciting about this. We've just got bits of slate, look, on the floor. No actual regular ballast down, really. And it's been shot blasted or shotcreted, as you call it. It looks pretty recent, to be fair. Because there's not a lot of graffiti, and what is there, it's pretty clean. And looks quite recent. And it's gated at the other end, look. To stop people coming in, or stop people coming out, even. And there we are at the other portal, look, nicely curved around. I'm going to see if I can poke the camera out just to show you what's on the other side. And there's the former track bed. Leaving the site, there's still traces of ballast down there, look, mixed in with the slate. There's probably the odd thing, little artifacts still down there, but we can't get there. And it goes on to private land beyond there and heads off towards the former railway line. So the second larger tunnel's over there just outside. It came in here and you can see we've got these like raised platforms either side. It's going to be used for unloading. You can see there's some non-slip metal there as well. Look, for the edge, that probably went all the way along at one point. If we go to the other end, we're going to get ourselves inside here in a moment. But there's one more thing I want to show you, is that this still has railway track in it. Look, I'll get you down to the bottom if you see it. And on the far side there's the other line right in the middle of the screen. And we've got buffer stocks, look at that. How's that for a bit of abandoned railway line? That's remarkable that that's just sat there. I think it gets severed just here. Although the one on the other side does in fact carry on. So this one's missing, stops just there. But that line is still there and goes beyond. So next up we found a door, and it's an open door behind a yellow wall. So it's time to get the death ray and the floodlight out, and we'll see what's beyond the door. So on the other side of the big door, the big yellow door, we're on the inside, look, these great big wooden beams. And the railway tracks are still down again, look, they're under about a foot of water. And they carry on, look, they're both there. And this room is absolutely huge. So let's push on. Oh, look at the old light fitting. Look at that. Get you nice and close. And again, look, the trains would have come inside here and they would have unloaded it as per the bit that's outside, which once was not outside, as it did have the roof on top of it before the collapse. There's another opening over there, look. I'm sure we can get over there. In fact, there's openings everywhere, look at this. Look at this. Both ways up. Looks like an old elevator down there. Oh my! Old electric box there. Look at this, it's an old elevator shaft with winding gear. All manner of stuff in the bottom of there. That's about 3-4 foot deep with water. Look at the old winding gear. And that could well be the elevator actually above us, look. That's remarkable. So there's another little door here, look, which has been cut open. You can see in there, it's like an old tunnel, look. You can hear running water as well, which I think is down to the right. It's like a little channel. It's like an old mine, isn't it? And there's even lines there. You see the old rail lines just there, look, which they must have used narrow gauge internal wagons to push things up and down. That is absolutely brilliant. So next up, we found a staircase, a concrete staircase. There's some old electrical pipe in there as well, look, which obviously goes up there. So what I'm hoping to find up here is the elevator, what we saw earlier on. And here we are on the upper level, look. It's almost like a tunnel roof. I suppose it is a tunnel. Look at the old archways. That's got a bricked up reinforced arch look, whereas that's got the standard arch look. So there must have been a few problems with a few of them. And there's another one straight through the other side. Let's leave that alone for a moment. And let's get a look at this elevator just here, look. So there's the pulleys and the winding gear at the top. There's two of them. I think we briefly saw them on the water out on the other side. Got the old sliding door just there, look like when you go in an old department store and they have the double gated lift. There's the old control wires. There's the floor. And there's an old escape hatch at the top for maintenance purposes, and the old light fitting it would have used to have had one of those curved glass covers underneath. I'm not going to go on there because you don't really know, but it feels secure, but there's no point risking anything, is there? That's fantastic. So we're on the far side now, look, and the echo is tremendous this end. I don't know why it's so much more louder than it was at the other end. But I love these brick archways where they've used them to reinforce. If we go further down again, look, you can see the other ones are primarily as they were. You also see here, look, where there used to be some kind of metal. In fact, the metal's still there, look. It's to save when they were pushing things around, that if they bumped into the wall, it didn't cause any damage. And you'll find them on both sides. So that was absolutely remarkable. I think, you see where there's some damp moisture getting in up there, look. I think we're gonna make our way back downstairs now and get out into the open section again. The echoes are absolutely astounding. If I stamp my foot, it goes on and on and on. Listen. Right, let's get out before we make it fall down. So we're back here again, look, you see the railway lines protruding out. There's the door in the distance where we came in. And through there, look, there's some more levels, some small areas with steps. So we can get around the back. It looks like here there's some steps down to the track bed level as well. We can't go in because it's flooded. I'll take you down for a quick nosy to the last step before I get wet. You've still got the bolts there, look, from where the buffers once sat. And you can just make out the railway lines still in place just there. So I believe these were possibly offices up here. They're at a higher level. You can imagine them maybe even having windows here at one point, or maybe not. That's looking back down to where we just come from, look, where the railway line unloading track was. Just duck down, you can see all that moisture again on the roof, look. There's an old chair, look. I'm sure this chair doesn't date back from when this place was actually in use, because that is very, very old woodwork. Look at the canvas covering on there, that's extremely old. Other than that, there's not really anything else to see up here. It's an old brick skirting around there, look, which was possibly to catch the drainage of water coming down the walls. It's obviously a bit of a bar at times. And we can make our way back down the first flight of steps. So that's 8 steps up, and through here there's another one which is going to be very similar, if not the same. Just looking down there a little. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And this one's a slightly different shape, look. Only a little bit. How they got these great big pieces of log up there? They look like bits of old telegraph pole, don't they? I actually do think that's what they were. That's brilliant. Right, let's make our way back outside and into the daylight. So now these outer sections make more sense and what they look like. Now you've seen the inside, you've got to imagine that before all this collapsed because of the weight of the topsoil back in 1942, these tunnels would have come all the way across as part of the roof section. The entire length and breadth of the bomb store. So we've near enough just been walking through an identical version of what once stood right where we are now on the outside. So there's the narrow gauge tunnel just there, look, and although there's no trace of the lines, you can see that yellow door right in the centre of the screen, look, just there. Now what I think is, you remember the door on the inside had that like mine cave with the yellow door and the square hole on it? I think that that was a continuation of this narrow gauge line that for some purpose went all the way through and came out the other side, because I think that lines up correctly with what's on the inside to what's on the outside, with the old abandoned tunnel down there for the narrow gauge tracks. So back up top, look, so the two tunnels, narrow gauge one just there, standard gauge one just here. And the purpose of the tunnels is to take it under this road, look. Now the railway one's shot off over there, back where that red car is. But the narrow gauge one, that curved off and went in that direction. So I've just popped the other side, look, and we're on, there's all squirrels running around, we're on the other side of the bomb store. That's the other side. Right down there, I'm going to try and zoom in and get a photo for you. Now down there, there's what looks like an old mine entrance, like a little cave. That has got to be the other end of that tunnel we found behind the yellow door, hasn't it? Because this is the route it would take, and it would have gone under where we are now, down there somewhere. So we've got to assume down there there's another entrance, but it's far too high up and far too dangerous to attempt. So now we've made it back to the other side of the former slate quarry, and look at the size of this place. Look at that huge slate wall at the top, and that sheer drop all the way down to the bottom. Look at that. I think we need to try and get down, don't we?
We'll film in a second, I promise you. If you don't film this bit, I'll tell you.
This is lovely and ornate, isn't it? It's a little tunnel passageway through to the other side, and this slate walled it up to reinforce it. Look, let's get ourselves through there and have a look inside. Oh, that is great, isn't it? Pretty cold in there as well. And there's a great big lake on the other side. Let's just spin you around and have a look at what we've just come through. That's great, isn't it? So look at this lagoon, it's almost got a tint of greeny blue to it. Apparently it's really, really deep. And some say there's actually even tunnels underground which link the other sections of quarry together, and since then it has been flooded. So that'd be pretty cool to get down there and have a bit of a swim, wouldn't it? But I don't fancy that myself. Now that is...
Like the bottom when I was here last time.
Now if you look at it from that angle, look, you can see how deep this is. It is absolutely... I can see the edge. And there we go. So it's good to see that the waterproof does work on the GoPro, and you got to see the bottom a little bit there, or how deep it was. And these rocks protrude out from the side, look. There's some old bolts just there, look. And that is really sketchy on the right hand side. That is extremely... I can see the bottom. It's a massive drop. Like something was once bolted down just here. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. This is Llamberis World War II bomb store in Wales. Hope you've enjoyed this video. I've absolutely loved it. It's been a long time since I've done an abandoned explore, and it's been very unique and special. It's brilliant, and it's in beautiful scenery too. Like and subscribe. Don't forget to comment below if you've got any more suggestions. Give it a thumbs up. Take care, and I will see you in another video very soon. Bye bye.